Mainstream gaming and esports are filled with money and enjoy lots of attention. Fighting games? Well, guys, we could certainly do better. There is a method to move to prosperity and crash the limits of a niche genre. We are on the way to that destination, but it feels like something is holding us back. What is that? What obstacles should be removed? Or even better, what should be added to the wonderful formula of fighting games to let them, and us all, reach the level of mainstream? And that's the reason for today's video. We want to get into this. If you like what we do, please subscribe or join these lovely people who support our channel on Patreon. First of all, it's just necessary to clarify what mainstream is. I would throw here a harsh example instead of calculating numbers of active players or the amount of mentions in gaming media. A random Counter-Strike team may finish 5th in a CS2 major and get money for long-term development of their organization, including in-house psychologists and recreation periods on a personal training basis. At the same time, a random Mortal Kombat player may finish 5th at an MK1 major, which will only cover plane tickets and accommodations, maybe. Money is there in esports, millions upon millions across various titles, and then there's the FGC with a kind of inferiority complex. Can it be that we are secretly afraid to grow? Sure, it's not only about money. You start a small talk somewhere at a party, and if you are lucky enough to meet a gaming person, there is rather little chance that you will have an exciting discussion about how they nerf Sub-Zero or your main in Tekken 8. The GTA 6 or doubtful first 50 hours of Starfield will be a more appropriate topic. Fighting games deserve more money and attention, but how do we achieve that? Oh, this sweet, sweet word, balance. We love it in the FGC so much, looking for balance within a game and within movesets of every single character. That balance is not always perfect though, and to be honest, the balance within the whole genre is somewhat lacking. I mean the balance between sticking to old traditions and following modern trends. Guess to which side fighting games have a tendency to drift. Classic fighting games were released in a totally different environment. No PlayStation or Xbox in sight, and computers could run a text editor, and that was a great achievement. People had to go to arcades to play something like Street Fighter, Virtua Fighter, or Mortal Kombat. Those games were eventually ported to home consoles, but they still carried the flavor of the original devices. A lot of the tradition formed back then is whirling around input patterns. You know, we still do that with quarter circles and dragon punches, but also the tradition includes an almost full focus on 1v1 matches, with rather basic arcade modes instead of full-fledged stories, and no accessible tutorials at all. That period created a great basis for everything we have now in the industry of fighting games, but the times have changed, and the tradition is very reluctant to follow those changes. Later series and installments are much better adapted to the reality of consoles and PC gaming. Tekken has built its own system of input and became one of the most played games on the PS1. Newer Mortal Kombat games invite players to breathtaking cinematic experiences. The genre evolves alongside the gaming world. But the problem is, the gaming world evolves faster. I don't really want to moan and groan here about the power of old school roots. I just want to ask you to compare the evolution of, say, RPGs and fighters. In old role-playing games like the first Final Fantasies, we had flat worlds with turn-based battles. Now they have stunning visuals and action-filled explorations of open worlds. The list goes on, but that's not what matters. The point is that fighters are more or less whirling around the same concept, which is great, don't get me wrong, but the mass audience of mainstream gaming wants more profound modernization. Everything is quite alright in the visual department, but the accessibility of input, depth of solo adventures, and the general process of introducing new players to fighting mechanics is not bad at all, but it's definitely not great. This is a point where the balance of traditions and modern trends is lacking, and it holds fighting games back in terms of entering the mainstream. The fighting genre is built by many games, and talking about them equally is quite unfair. Some of the recent releases have made impressive boosts towards the general audience, still it could be better even for them. A breakthrough title in this process is probably Guilty Gear Strive. However niche the previous games of this series were, Strive managed to amaze so many new people far beyond the FGC. It's gorgeous and full of excitement for everyone who grabs the controller and joins the matches. Okay, for most people. Many sold copies and record numbers of concurrent players pushed the title to mass gaming media, but not for too long. At some point, the struggle of performing supers and the addition of iconic but so weird characters played its role. Strive is big in the FGC, but it's not a mass adopted game anymore. The process continues with new releases, and Street Fighter VI melted the ice of accessibility with its modern controls. Even more, the World Tour is an exceptional achievement as a solo adventure in a fighting game. Again, the FGC made a bridge to mass gamers. It was kind of broken quite soon with all the traditional complexity beyond the first, quite thin, layer of entertainment. We could continue this list with other games, but no, you probably get the point. Modern releases actively explore the ways to maintain the balance between the tradition and mass requirements, and yes, we can't fully abandon traditions, otherwise it will be the BGC, the beat 'em up games community. Let's just throw a somewhat judging look at many fighting games that don't really try to adapt the mass market. Dear King of Fighters, I love you and everything, but can you feel the pain of newcomers to your various features who want to play your story mode and can't make sense of all the mechanics and have no explanation of what this button does? Reaching mainstream is not only about being great for the core fans and for many wandering strangers. Some stuff goes beyond even this balance. Let's say that you come to a job interview as a good professional, but all you talk about is your social awkwardness and weird hobbies. Yes, I have a Pokemon card of Moltres and I'm so proud. Okay, but we are looking for a nuclear engineer. You should know how to present yourself. This is crucial for promoting any gaming product. Mortal Kombat guys know that so well. All those collaborations with celebrities are mind-blowing, and it's hard for everyone not to notice the release of MK1 and get interested in the game. In some aspects, Mortal Kombat plays on the controversy of blood and violence, and that also works quite well. Everything is good to hook people and then let them enjoy the depth of fighting mechanics. The presentation of fighting games could be generally better. All sorts of mass culture areas should be involved to let people know how awesome the genre is. Tekken Bloodline is a great example of a move in that direction. Yeah, we have a classic, rather comedy Street Fighter film with an exceptionally good M. Bison, but what else? When the genre is balanced for the modern mass audience, the art of presenting itself should be the next step to reach mainstream. That's not all, sure. A huge esports dimension is begging for fighting games to enter the world of big sponsor contracts and millions of viewers on tournament streams. Examples of the biggest esports titles are something we should observe and study. They absolutely have the balance done right. Like, take a look at League of Legends. It's a MOBA, alright, with all the complexity of purchasing items during a match and lots of champions that play and feel so different. But the game offers ways for people to learn that gradually, from a full CPU tutorial to playing with other people against the computer, only then to proper matches. The game has simplified some overcomplicated mechanics of Dota 2, and that was LOL's strongest move for gaining this level of popularity. Dota 2 is also a mainstream product. It changes and adapts to modern requirements. Now, the game doesn't throw newcomers in a cage with lions, even if the complexity is not adapted to mass gamers at all. But Dota has mastered the craft of presentation. People are so amazed by the mind-blowing prize pools of the International that they naturally get motivation to overcome obstacles to try and learn what the game is all about, and they are properly hooked. Money to Dota comes from selling cosmetic items. This formula of supporting the economy of esports titles works for Valve shooters too. Counter-Strike may not be as perfectly balanced as, say, Valorant, having obvious tendency to hardcore traditions, but the industry of skins keeps beginners motivated and brings millions to the pro activity. Even without this elaborated financial part, mainstream games benefit from adapting to mass audiences and properly promoting themselves. Call of Duty left behind some of the ancient traditions of the shooting genre and succeeded with its fresh, casual approach much more than classic Quake did. Fortnite doesn't care about the realistic ambitions of PUBG. The game emphasizes the fun aspect, uses the skin selling model, and succeeds beyond imagination. It's still a battle royale, but the balance of identity and the strive to mainstream is exceptional here. And look at all the cool collaborations that make Fortnite talked about by everyone. Could you have ever imagined watching Goku hit the gritty in a video game? Mainstream esports has the balance and it can present itself, exploiting the power of mass culture and money. Can fighting games follow this path and not lose its wonderful core on the way? Is there an anime where a protagonist dreams big, leaves his lovely village, moves to a city, or better to a capital imperial planet, why not, but then finds themselves in so much trouble that their former life in a small settlement among the forests feels like a lost paradise? This anime should exist. It sounds like a great idea, and I'm sure it does. We can't mindlessly push fighting games on this road. We have an amazing community filled with joy at every step. Scaling to mainstream should be a way to share the joy with other people and open new opportunities for everyone in the FGC, players, games, companies, etc. Mainstream is like that huge dangerous city with sacks of money and millions of people. What can be bad about this, right? Losing the core identity that makes the genre unique is simply awful. No one needs that in the FGC, and actually no one needs that in the vast gaming community. Shallow games that are meant to print money? Some companies are pros at this, and I don't even want to name them. All the steps towards mainstream should be reasonable. Take a look at Smash Ultimate. The game has such an awesome competitive core, but the company seems to dream only about keeping it for the mass of casual players. It's the esports potential lost. The original Granblue Fantasy Versus failed for various reasons, including being kind of basic. With the release of Rising, the developers strongly moved to the fighting core, and that absolutely saved the franchise. Many titles tried to be built upon mainstream ideas only, and not many people remember them. Multiversus learned in a hard way that popular characters are not an ultimate key for success, so I wonder what they're changing ahead of their launch. I've been talking mostly about the gameplay part so far, but imagine the dark abyss of having some dirty money in the esports industry and all sorts of manipulations and exploitations that could happen in the mainstream FGC. No, please, I don't want to paint these images in my head. Dangers are here, sure, but I have a strong trust in the fighting game community who will not allow anyone to destroy our common heritage. That doesn't mean we should abandon opportunities. Our opportunities are awesome, and we are already on the way to have even more of those. Many developers and publishers strive to scale their presence in general gaming and in esports. Brawlhalla is slowly turning into the Fortnite of fighting games, having collaborations with super popular franchises such as SpongeBob and Ninja Turtles, and I'm still waiting for Goku. Their prize pools are great, even when spread across a few regions. Adaptations to modern gamers and increased money investments are all over the place, but some steps to mainstream still wait to be taken. I would love to see every fighting game being fun and enjoyable for every gamer, not only for hardcore fans. I want to see fighting franchises getting their anime series, live action films, and just promo trailers with huge celebrities involved. I want to see them being present far beyond niche FGC conventions. The esports format is something the industry professionals should think about. Look at EVO's decision to make the final parts top 6. It's a nice step towards the general audience who can't watch a 6-hour-long stream. Involvement of all regions also sounds like a good idea. South America finally got more attention from the industry, a lot of thanks to the exceptional dedication of people there, but the world map is still bigger, and gamers are everywhere. I'm not up to listing steps. Creative and business people of our industry know better. I just want to shape the direction and articulate how ready we are for being in the mainstream. The miracle of fighting games belongs to humanity, and we are glad to greet everyone. Yep, and bring your money to the FGC too, thank you. It feels excessive to ask you guys if you want to see more people in the FGC and more opportunities for professional fighting esports. But I don't know everything. So what did I miss here? Maybe there's some additional obstacles waiting for us on this path. I can't wait to read your suggestions about what the industry should do to reach the mainstream level and what can we as players do for this. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video and on DashFight.com.